Hello everyone and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you two of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now before we get stuck into that, I quickly just want to recap on how our selections performed today. In the end, it was a frustrating day here on the YouTube channel as both of our selections couldn't land a blow. The first one of them was our Nap Gugas Collage at Plumpton, finished in 4th place in the end, but the horse that won the race from Oliver Sherwood's yard was never going to be beaten. He was a great jumper, out in front and in command of the race the whole way round, so that was a good performance by him. Our horse did try and make a move to try and chase the leader, but in the end that cost him in the closing stages of the race for a place, as he did fade away in the home straight. So yeah, disappointing there from Gugas Collage. The next best of the day was Upper Air with River Frost for Richie McClernand and Ben Haslam. From the word go, really, this horse didn't seem to be in the mood today. Made quite a few silly mistakes at its hurdles, and you knew on the second circuit down the back straight that the writing was on the wall, and in the end he finished in a well-beaten 7th place. So yeah, very disappointing day today, but hopefully it's just a blip. We've been in good form for the majority of December. We had a good week last week, we had a good day as well on Saturday, and hopefully it was just another blip today. Okay, that is 2 disappointing days we've had in a row now, but hopefully we've come to the end of it and we can find some winners for you tomorrow. So let's get into it then. We're going to start tomorrow with my first tip of the day, which runs in the 105 at Wincanton. Now on paper this does look a very warm novices handicap chase. There could be quite a few winners that come out of this. I think it's going to be a strong piece of form, but the one I thought was quite attractive at a bit of a price, and I'm just going to recommend a win only bet, so it's got a win on the nose for us tomorrow, and that's going to be Getaway Fred for Robbie Power and Colin Tizard. Now Colin Tizard, it's been well documented so far this season, he hasn't appeared to be having a good time of things. He hasn't been having lots of winners, and quite a few of his stable stars have flopped so far this season. However, I was doing a bit of digging earlier, trying to see like how he's done in past seasons over the last few years, and actually he had 10 winners in November, which isn't really out of the ordinary from what he's been doing in the past. And December is normally a month where he starts to do a little bit better, and he's had 4 winners so far in December, which I don't think is actually too bad at this point. He normally has anywhere between around about 10 to 15 winners in December over the last few years. So really you could say that if he gets on the roll the next couple of weeks, he could go quite well. And they've been doing okay so far here at Wincanton, and they've had 3 winners so far this season, which doesn't sound like too many, but that's not bad if you actually look at his strike rate, and also as well he's up on the profit and loss. So yeah, Wincanton's one of their better tracks that they're doing that, and it's also their local track too. But this horse, if you actually look at the profile of Getaway Fred, I think his time could be tomorrow, because his last run at Wincanton was very, very encouraging. He actually finished in 5th place that day in a novices handicap chase won by Tamrock Du Mathan for Paul Nicholls, who actually finished 5th in the Betfair hurdle. But he was a really impressive winner that day, and he looked a cut above the others, you know, and he looked like he was going to go on to bigger and better things. I don't think he has run since. I know he had an entry in the King Henry VIII novices chase at Sandown a couple of weeks ago, but he was withdrawn because of the ground. But I still think that's going to be a nice horse moving forward, and there were some other decent chasers in there. There's been a couple of horses that have let the form down. However, the 6th place horse called Prudhomme for Nick Williams, he's gone and won on his next start, and Getaway Fred, we've yet to seen him come on from that race. So I would say the form actually isn't a bad level, and if you watch the race back, he was jumping very well that day, but he just lacked the turn of speed up the home straight, which was over 2 miles. Now tomorrow, I think a key asset for him to go close in this race is going to be stepping up in trip. A lot of his best form was coming over this 2.5 miles, and if you actually look at his pedigree, he's actually got more of a middle distance, staying type pedigree in his genes. He's related to lots of horses that were winning and doing their best things over 2.5, 3 miles. So that's going to help. He probably just lacks a little bit of speed over 2 miles. And if he can get into a good rhythm tomorrow, I think he'll go very well. He was also as well dropped £2 for that run at Wincanton. So he's now down to the mark of 128. And I think that's definitely a very feasible mark. If you go back as well a little bit for his form on his chase debut, Toxter 2 starts ago, again, that's a race that's worked out really well, because the winner of that race was Gumball, who was an unlucky faller at Cheltenham in the race that was eventually won by Eldorado Allen. You can probably say that Gumball would have gone very close that day, But if you look back through some of that form, Jenny Candlish's Cheltenham has come out and won since. Carlisle, you also as well have Bold Plan in there that turned over the big breakaway at Exeter a week or so ago. So that form at Uttoxeter looks fairly decent, and I think stepping up tomorrow in trip will be key, and I think the softer ground will help this horse as well. And Colin Tizard had a double as well, if I remember correctly, last time they raced at Wincanton. So I think even though this horse is coming from a yard that maybe haven't been in the best of form so far this season, I still think there's a few factors, if you look at them and weigh them all up, that suggest he could run very well at a bit of a price tomorrow. I'm quite sweet for him to go very close, and I think at 8-1 that is a good price there. But I'm just going to recommend him to win on the nose tomorrow. I think it's kind of an all or nothing bet. He'll either win or either flop, you know, and hopefully the market will be confident around him tomorrow, and if it is, I expect a good run for our money. So that's going to be the next best in the 105 at Wincanton. We then have to wait for quite a while for the nap, which is going to be running on the evening race racing at Wolverhampton under the floodlights. We go to a class 6 handicap here in the 740 at Wolves with a horse called Dr. Nuno for Tom Marquand and Tony Carroll. Now, this Dr. Nuno is not going to take a genius to work out. The current price at the time of recording, the best price available was 6-4 with Bet3 6-5. But there was a bit shorter out there with a few other firms at 11-8, but there was still 6-4 available, Bet3 6-5. And this horse, Dr. Nuno, has been running really well since he transferred to Tony Carroll's yard. On his last 3 starts, he's won one of them and he's finished second twice. And his last effort saw him finish second at Wolverhampton when he was running over a mile. And that form has worked out quite well because the 3rd place horse has run okay since, and the 4th place horse was a horse called Black Medic for Laura Mongan, who was actually a winner here, a winning nap on our YouTube channel last week. So the form of that race at Wolverhampton has worked out quite well, and dropping back down to 7 furlongs tomorrow I think will suit him, because that's the distance his win came out in that sequence of good runs. He's off a mark of 64, he's still 3 years old. He looks like, to me, he's still improving. He's got not a bad draw as well in stall 6 tomorrow, and Tony Carroll's yard have been in good form of late, and I just think he's an obvious selection, and I think he'll take all the beating in that race. So yeah, not the most original selection there, but I think Dr. Nuno is a good thing in the 740 at Wolverhampton. So they're the 2 best tips for tomorrow's racing. If you haven't done so already, please remember to give us a thumbs up and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support you give me. If you want to follow me on social media as well, the best place to do so is on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to know a little bit more about myself, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk for a full portfolio of my work. So please gamble responsibly. Hopefully we can have a couple of winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.